You, right there, you're going to end up just like your parents. And you're probably thinking, you, no I'm not. Here's a funny thing I learned while writing my book, and just what made me come to terms with my own parents in anything and hold no grudgments against people. You see, everyone will turn out exactly like their parents because literally, since the time you were a kid, they have been teaching you those habits, those mannerisms, those things. And so you will literally grow up to be exactly like your parents unless you make some really substantial changes. For me, it took me being crippled, having all this shit happen to realize I didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to struggle in life. I didn't want to live the life that my parents did. I wanted to be my own person. And so it took a very deliberate change and a lot of time. I'm talking like 10 plus years of time to change from who I was and what I grew up in to who I am now. And that's actually probably took about 20 years total since like I was in the house. But you will end up just like them. And your parents are just like their parents unless they made a change. And this is what made me come to terms with my own family and my own parents, is that I realized that they're just doing the only thing that they knew. They literally were taught these lessons from their parents, just like you are being taught lessons from your parents and your kids are learning lessons from you. So that's one of the reasons I'm such into capitalism, entrepreneurship, and everything else, and teaching my kids about how money works, how the world works, everything else, is because I realize your kids are going to end up just like you. You are going to end up just like your parents. I want to break that cycle. I broke that cycle. I want my kids to grow up with an entirely different perspective than I did. And we're going to be a generation, 2 generations of change. I want my kids to go even further than I do, because they have learned from a very young age about money, entrepreneurship, about starting a business, because they literally were packing boxes in my business when they were 2 and 3 years old. So they understand the change. They've seen the change in me. And I want to be the change in them, so that way when they get older, they will be the change in their kids, and it'll just be a whole generation of people expanding, growing, being better than the previous one. So if you have a real strong problem with your parents, look in the mirror, because you are probably just like them. And you're probably thinking, but it's true, and unless you make a change and actually start watching videos like this and following people like me and liking videos like this so they show up in your feed more, so you actually get a change of perspective, you will be just like your parents.